Mijael is our next guest. Hello, hello.
Hola, Mijael.
Hi everyone.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I've been watching a little bit of the conversations already, and I'm thrilled for the marathon also tomorrow. So I'm good.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for being here, for joining us from the beginning. We saw you there and asking questions. Um, Always a part of MajolMX, so we're very grateful for this. And for Mijael, we picked two topics that we believe is really important. One of them is new generations of Yotzrim, acceptance, opinion, advices, opportunities. And the other topic is the impact of Rikulei in your life. Rikuleya. So let's start a little bit if you want to talk a little bit about this, and then we can help you with some questions, and at the end, the Q&A from the public.
Okay, great. So I'll start talking about the subject of new generations of choreographers. So here we also have several of the names you see in the last couple of years. In the choreographing of new dances, and I've been to a long path with this. I started the first time choreographing a dance that was Dance Worldwide. I think it was around 5 years ago, and really I started, and no one knew who I am. So on this way, I've seen a lot of how you go through this in the world. Some people treat you, they try to push you. Some people maybe don't. So I will share a little bit about that, and I will share it through my personal journey. I can say that a lot of people ask me, a lot of people also in Israel, around the world, that they think about starting choreographing dances. They ask me, how do you start? Like, how do you want to make a dance? I hear a song, I'm doing a dance. How do you get people to dance it, actually? And I think this is like the first step is the most difficult. And I think really sometimes it depends on a lot of factors, also in timing and luck and everything. And also, of course, creating a dance that people will like. But I have to say that regarding, you asked about if other teachers helped me and pushed me. So I think I really got a big push from most of the big names in the industry. Really, I can say that the first time I went to a camp as a choreographer, it was as a teacher, and I started to choreograph. It was because of two friends of Ohad Atiyah and Chen Shporen that they pushed me to it, and they offered me as a new face to come to a camp. It was Gvanim camp in the United States. And since then, I really felt a lot of goodwill from the big names, from the older choreographers that you see a lot. I can say that the first big session, big session that sessions that taught my dances were Dudu Barzelai and Yaron Carmel. They really they were very happy to help me with the dances, and also Gadi and Rafi and older generations choreographers. When I see them, like I saw it every time I see Eli Ronen, he tells me how he likes to see me progress in the dancing world and everything. So I really think I feel a lot of goodwill from the older generation teachers. And also, I think there's a lot of cooperations between the younger generation. I get to talk a lot with Yuval that was here, and Sagi and Eli. We're good friends, and we get to work together sometimes and even think about choreographing together. So I think it helps a lot that we are very united. I don't know, sometimes there's a lot of, you say in the past, people maybe they were less united in the choreography world. So I think with us, we can feel a more of a united front. And in general, I think that it's going to sound like philosophy, but I think that a lot of people ask me, how did you know did you just decide you're going to be a choreographer, you want to make dances? So again, I'm not working in the dancing world. I have another job, and the dancing world is, like Sagi said, it started as my hobby and became my professional hobby, I guess. And I think that you shouldn't start to create because you are planning to become a choreographer and this is your goal. I think you should start to create because you feel the need to, because you hear a song and you say, these steps are fit for this song. This is the reason to start choreographing, and this is how I see it. So this is a little bit about being a young choreographer in this world. I can say that I do feel some pushback sometimes from older generations dancers. I feel it especially in Israel a lot of times. Some people don't like the fact that we have new dances, or maybe don't like the amount of new dances that are being created. And sometimes I can hear, it's a very small percentage, but I can hear sometimes people say, you came to this world and you started making dances. We don't need new dances. We can use the older ones and we have enough. And about this, I always say that if you want to progress, and people talked here about bringing young people to this world, so you need to be up to date. And I think it's so important that we have dances for the newer music that the younger generation hear. And I think that also, if you look about all the choreographers that have been creating for a lot of years and are still relevant, it's because they know how to take the newer music and they don't stay in the past. I see Nona here, and I have to say, like, for example, Nona, I think she's so up to date every time with what she does. Like, in the last Machola we were together, I learned a new dance, Lishkoach Velisloach, of Idan Raichel. And I see, the same person that I learned a lot of years ago, I learned the Chayle Manech, which is like a classic for me. And now she's doing, for a more up-to-date music, a dance that you can feel that the steps are so different and are so updated. And I think this is the thing that sometimes I have some people saying, we have the older dances. No, we need to progress because this is a progressive field. It's not like folk dances, like Balkan dances. I don't know. Sometimes you have all kind of folk dances that are being preserved as they are. Israeli dancing, a part of it is that it's a progressive field, and I'm happy to be a part of it that pushes it for the future. It's important. This is my part about the newer generation of choreographers, and you can ask me questions if you want.
That's amazing what you said. And with that said about Nona and the future and the present, we did a question. I'm gonna read it because it's a really good one. Where is it? Okay. Being part of the present of this movement, you take a responsibility to be also the future. What do you think of this?
Well, I think it is a responsibility, and I think in every part I do, every dance I create, every camp that I go to, I don't have a regular session in Israel that I hold. Even before COVID, I didn't have. I used to have a session for 2 years, but I closed it because it's not my profession. But every time I go to a camp and I teach a new dance around Israel and around the world, I think of the future. I think, how is this dance contributing for the future of Israeli dancing? I can give, for example, that, for example, one of my last year's dances is Bechayai that I did. This dance, I heard this music and I thought this song has to be danced because I saw a lot of young people like this song. You keep hearing it on the radio. Here in Israel, you heard it all the time, and it's a real scat and it's very popular. And I said, I need to do something simple because I want maybe beginners or intermediate young dancers that they want to start dance. I want them to be able to catch the dance. So, and I don't think that all the dances should be simple, but I think that especially for these very popular new songs, you need to get maybe steps that fit everyone. Also because it's still like folk dancing and you want everyone to be involved. And also when I do it, I think about the future. I want kids to see this dance, to hear, I know this song from the radio and I want to learn it, and I want them to be successful in learning it. So I think about it this way. And another way I think about it, that every time I go to a camp, some of the camps, they all already cover the fact that you need to talk to young people also. Sagi mentioned Majola, so in Majola I can see, there's a whole section for young people there, and also he invests a lot to make the atmosphere very, very energetic, and it affects a lot. And sometimes I go to camps, and when I try to bring my own perspective of talking to young people, sometimes I went to several dance camps in around the world that they had younger people coming, but the camp it manages like it used to manage in the last decades, and I try to bring my ideas how to encourage the young dancers to stay with us. And as Sagi said, like it's not natural for a young person to dance with older people for his age. Like for me, I started at the age of 8. For me, at some way, it was okay from the beginning. I don't know. Some people are okay with it from the beginning. I went with because of my mom. I started dancing, and as I went further on, I met other young people that I hooked up with, and I liked it and I stayed. I think maybe if I wouldn't connect with more young people, so I wouldn't stay maybe in Israel dancing. You never know. So I think in everything I do in this world, I think of the future because I want myself to be able to keep doing this for a long time. I have a kid. I want my kid to be able to dance when she grows up. I have a kid. She's 2.5 years old. I want her to be able to dance for many years further on, and it's part of our responsibility. So this is the answer.
That's amazing what you said, and yeah, it's the responsibility of all of us. So that's why this project is so important for us and having all of you here. Saying that about your daughter and family, what has Rikudayam brought to your life?
Well, Rikudam, dancing was in my life through all of my life. I started at the age of 8, like I mentioned. So I've been dancing for 24 years already. So it's been my life. I can say that I think it brought to my life in certain stages several things. First of all, I think it's an amazing therapy for a lot of people. I see it around the world. It's a therapy. You have problems. You had a bad day. You're thinking of all kind of problems, and you go to dancing and just forget it. Sometimes I can come with I have a backache, and my back has been hurting for the whole day, and then I come to dancing and I forget about it. Even that, even if it's physical challenge. So the first thing it's therapy, and the second is the very social. It pushes you socially. I think I can say about myself that I, as a kid, was very shy, and even meeting new friends was difficult. And I think Israeli dancing changed it because you go to a social place. This is a very important part of Israeli dancing. I think this is also part of what we're doing now. Even now that every one of us is in his own, so we're still connecting because this is the social thing. The dancing here right now, we will dance tomorrow, but still we're together at this because we want to see each other dancing. We want to connect. And I think it pushed me a lot socially, and I think it does that for a lot of people. And if I can be dramatic, I can really say that Rikudeam is like air for my lungs. I don't see myself not doing it or not doing some part of it. And I can say that getting into choreographing dances and teaching dances in Israel and around the world, I think it blown it even bigger in my world. And it's amazing, and it affects everything. And I think about it when I'm doing my actual work during the day, and I think about it in every place I go, and it's a part of me. So it's really, you say what it is about my life, it's a very big part of my life, some of the basics of my life.
Wow. I think we all identify with that. That's why we're on Zoom every single day dancing from each other's house and listening to you guys. That's really important to hear it from somewhere in the other world, and we connect a lot with that. So we're gonna start with the Q&A. We have more questions in case some people don't raise your hand, or if you want to write it in the chat. So let us know if anybody wants to question Mijael.
So we'll start with Pepe, that he has a question.
Okay, my question here is, I want you to say a short sentence for about what are you thinking about the future of Rikudeam? Like a short sentence.
I think the future of Rikudeam can be good and big, but I'm not very optimistic about it, and I think that we need to work hard for it to be good. This is what I think. This is my short sentence about it.
Amazing.
Okay, they started a game in the chat. We're saying a lot of amazing, but it is amazing to hear this. So if you guys want to drink each time we say amazing, that's fine by us.
We're amazed about this.
So amazing question.
Okay, so let's go with Gingy first. Sí.
She's on mute.
Okay, I got it. I think I know this by now because Madeline's on Zoom every day for school. I have been at Mahala twice with you. The first time I didn't officially meet you in person, the second time I did. But I was hearing from you and a lot of other choreographers that they started dancing and from dancers because their parents danced. And my mother danced with Yoni Carr, so that's how I started dancing when I was 11 years old. Do you think it helps that our older generation of parents danced?
I think it helps very much, and I think that one of the things that could push the future even more is that a lot of dancers today, that they have kids, they make sure that their kids know this part of their life, and I'm planning to do it with my kid, and I hope that some people have have older kids now, that they push them to dance. I think it's very important. Most of the people I know started because of their parents. Most of my close friends started because of their parents. And I can say that, especially from the Israeli perspective, in Israel, it's not very common in school that you have like classes for Israeli dancing. You have some schools that do it, but it's not that common. I can see that around the world, in the United States, I have a lot of friends that actually do it in schools, like in afternoon activities, they do Israeli dancing for the Jewish communities. And I think here in Israel, the lack of it, it's sad, but I think there could be more of that. And I think, so this is why I think it's very important, like we should start with a personal example, like every person that you have, if you have a kid that is in the age of maybe start to dance, I think it's very important to do that. And yeah, this is my generations of friends, that most of them started because of their parents. So I agree. It's very important.
And I am passing down to my mini-me, Gingy, Madeline. I mean, met, well, the redhead. Everyone knows Gingy and many Gingy. Anyway, so I'm passing on. So thank
good.
You.
So you're good now. I hope that more people will do that.
Yeah.
Gingy. Thank you, Gingy. Now we have a question from Stuart.
Here we go. Hey, Mijael, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you, Stuart?
I'm great. So I have two-part question. The first part is to grow young leaders, do you see any organizations that support grooming of them, especially outside of Israel? Because inside of Israel, you do have teachers programs. But do you see any programs where you're funding or encouraging, people to develop this, not necessarily as a full-time, but, to get them professionally going? And the other part, or if you want to answer that first, then I'll ask the other part.
So your questions has two parts, because the first part is the course for teachers around the world outside of Israel. And I think actually until now we had a lot of like local maybe like not courses, but people did their own things in a local way. And I think what I know now, I'm not part of the Makidim course that they have in the Tel Aviv University with Gadi that is probably joining now, but I think that now what COVID brought, one of the small good things maybe that COVID brought is that now they're doing a version of the course that is international, and they're doing the course, the Makidim course now partial in Zoom, and they're planning on doing it. And I know they've been planning on doing it even before COVID. I know that there were plans. I know that there were plans around MajolMX to start doing for European people that want to become teachers a Makidim course. And I think there are new initiatives about that. I think it's very important. I think until now we didn't have enough from that, and I can see where I go around the world that I see a lot of teachers that learned how to teach from, they saw someone else teach. They used to dance in another teacher's session, and he took them under his custody, and he started teaching them how to teach. And I think in this, and this is the second part, not the actual course. The second part is like the OJT, actually, the on-job training that you need to do. And I think this has to be initiatives of local communities. I think each local community has to put a lot of effort to it. In Israel, I know that a part of the Makidim course, probably it's going to be a part of the international course now, is also do a stage, but the stage is only 1 year. And I think that learning how to be a good teacher involves a lot of years, that you follow another teacher or many other teachers and you take advices and everything. I think it should really be pushed by local communities. And I know that some places in the world, they do it, but I don't think enough. I think some places, I wish they would do it more.
Yeah, so I really like that last idea of taking people under the wing and mentoring them so they survive. And it's true that local communities need to support this as well. So you actually answered that second part of my question very well, and I like that. In fact, I think in the United States, we have Jewish Community Federation, and I'm trying to do a big campaign in my city, and I think other people need to follow the same thing, is to groom leaders. If you're an established leader, that's great, but you need to groom the next leaders, and you need to mentor them, and you need to get some funding for this, so I can send them to Israel or I can send them to camps, so that these people do continue. But like you said, to also take them under your wing and mentor them so that they continue to survive and grow is a big challenge. So applaud you for that, and thanks. And thanks for all your choreographies too.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart. That was a great question. Amazing. If you want to drink. Adri from Venezuela, it's your turn.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the most important thing to motivate the young people who are trying to be involved in the Rikudeyam world, and how can we encourage them to join us and love this world as much as we do?
Are you talking as teachers or as dancers? For young?
Both.
Okay. I just enlarged my answer. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first part I will say about dancing, I talked about it a little bit before, but I think I will divide it to two, because I think I see, and here I'm going to talk about, because you have Jewish communities that push dancing, and you have also like Israeli dancing is not just a Jewish thing. You have all religions around the world do it, and this is the amazing thing. So I think a lot of times in the Jewish communities, I see sometimes it's easier because the kids, this is their connection to maybe sometimes not just to the religion, but to Israel. And this is their connection. This is, by the way, this is why I think that in Israel, you don't have a lot of young people dancing. And when I go to South America, when I go to United States, I see in a lot of communities, I see younger people dance, because this is sometimes their connection to Israel. And in Israel, sometimes maybe young people that live in Israel, they take it for granted, and they're not feeling the need for that. This is one thing I have. But I will talk in general, not about just Jewish communities, because around about young dancers in general around the world. I think the idea is something like Sagi said, to market this not as a, to market it as maybe something that talks to them more. And it says a lot of things. It says playing music that fits them more. If you're doing a beginner session and you have young people come there, so maybe don't start in teaching Balad al Maya, and even though it's a perfect beginner's dance, or don't start with teaching Eretz Eretz. Maybe try to take a newer song that is not even an official dance and take the steps of Eretz Eretz and put them on this song. Try to combine songs that they can relate to. This is even that this is working if they're knowing any Hebrew songs. And in general, I think that doing beginner sessions for young people only, I think it really helps. It can really help because, again, young people, when they come to dance, young people that are not inside Israeli dancing, they don't want to dance with someone that is way older than them. And again, like I said, for me, for a lot of people that I know in my age and younger that are already dancing, it doesn't bother them because they already like, if you already like the dancing, so you don't care who you dance with, and you find yourself making friends with people. I have good friends from Israeli dancing that were born 40 years before me. It doesn't matter. You make friends on the base of the dancing. But for young people that you want to join this field, you need them to be in their regular environment. And this means doing an only young people beginner session. And also, I wish that in camps, they would put more effort to do that. In camps, you need to have a young people sessions, and also you want to join them together in the marathon in the night with everyone, but during the day maybe do a session like this. They do it in Bitnua, they do it in Sagid, does it in Machola, several more camps in the world I saw doing it, but not enough. And I think it's very important, and this is the way to do it. And besides that, also the regular things, doing atmosphere, lights, stuff that maybe talks to younger people. And the last thing I will say is about the choreography. I talked about it already. Take the music that the young people hear, and they want to dance something that they hear on the radio, not something that their grandpa heard on the radio 70 years ago. And I enjoy now today. I can dance. Static and Ben Ellen, I can dance in Sulim, and on the other hand, I can dance Yoram Gaon and songs from 60 years ago because I like the feel. But to get someone to like the feel, you need to get them from their regular environment and regular music that they're used to hearing. So this is my ideas.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mijael. It was a huge, huge honor to have you here with us today. I know people have more questions, but we're running a little late. So please let us know in the chat and we'll let Mijael know the question and we can keep with this. Now, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. And thank you. I will say thank you for MajolMX. I talked with Sagi earlier. We talked on WhatsApp, and I said that before this time of COVID, I knew you because I met most of you, I think, in Majola. And we used to chat a little bit, but lately all the events you've been doing and all of the activities online, it's so good, and I'm happy to see everyone attending it. So thank you for doing it, and thank you for having me.